Hello and welcome. I am Thomas Porteous and you are watching The World Report. Let's take a look at some of the top headlines. US and Russian officials are set to meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days, with Donald Trump confirming his participation. Ukraine says it has not been invited, and a Trump envoy states Europe will not have a seat at the table. Israel and Hamas conduct a major prisoner swap, with 3 Israeli hostages released in exchange for 369 Palestinian prisoners. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrives in Israel, focusing on Trump's plans to move Palestinians out of Gaza. Lebanon reports 2 deaths in an Israeli airstrike as regional hostilities escalate. Meanwhile, 25 people are arrested after an attack on a UN peacekeeper. At least 18 people are dead and many are injured after a deadly stampede in a New Delhi train station. Victims of the tragedy were attempting to board trains to attend India mega festival Kumbh. At least 18 people have died in a stampede at a railway station in India's capital. Crowds rushed to board trains heading to the Kumbh Mela, the world's largest religious gathering. The incident happened in New Delhi late on Saturday as passengers scrambled to catch special trains to the festival in Prayagraj. Officials say most victims likely died from suffocation or blunt injuries. Many of the dead were women and children. At least 11 others are injured. Authorities have launched a high-level inquiry. The Kumbh Mela has a history of deadly stampedes. Last month, at least 30 people died at the festival site. More than 500 million devotees are expected to attend by the festival's end on February the 26th. For more on this, we are joined by Brian Anthony Thomas, correspondent live from the scene in New Delhi. And for discussion, we are also joined by Ellen Rao, former DCP Special Cell, also joining us from Delhi. Brian Thomas, I wanted to come to you first. And if you can you just give us a brief talk through of what exactly happened last night in that New Delhi train station?
Well, Thomas, definitely, a very, alarming incident that has happened yesterday when, at the time was around 9:30, 10, when there were people who were visiting, rather wanting to go to Mahakumbh for the holy devotion. Now, what happened is there was the platform at the New Delhi railway station. The platform was 16, where the special train for Prayagraj was deployed. And there's another 14 on the platform 14 where Prayagraj Express, which is a normal train that goes through 14 goes to Prayagraj, was there. Now, what happened is there was an announcement mix-up that has happened between the two, platforms, and other than that as well, there were 2 more trains that was already there. That was the Swatantra Senani Express and another Bhubaneswar, Rajdhani Express that was there. Now there was a mix-up, the mishap of announcements that led to major chaos. And as a result of that, there was so many people around there. There were so many people, filled with people that you couldn't imagine standing there as well. And as a result of that, there were 18 people. Unfortunately, 18 people lost their lives. This included 11 women and children as well. So you can actually understand how alarming that incident became. And post that also, many leaders, you talk about the Union Home Minister, you talk about the Defense Minister, Amit Shah, you talk about, Rajnath Singh, they all took cognizance. They all took a stock of the situation. Even Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw also, initiated a high-level probe that was there. There were CCTV footages that was also taken out to ensure a proper, investigation being done. Because the announcement, there was a fault in the announcement. Also, to give more perspective to the viewers as well, you understand the announcement that goes on this very mic is not very audible, is not very loud. And since there's so much chaos already that happens in the railway station, it's very difficult for public, for normal people to hear or to understand. And also most people, they are not aware of, that if there's a cancellation or delay, supposedly, they're not very much informed that, oh, there's a cancellation or there's a delay. And as a result of that, also a lot of problem happens. And this is one of the situations that happened where there was literal mismanagement. The announcement, there was the announcement failure. People did not
Brian.
understand. There was a confusion. Yes, yes.
I
yes.
just want to quickly bring in L.N. Rao. These crowd crushes seem very, very common here in India. Why do these things happen so frequently?
Thomas, this is really another very sad incident related to Prayagraj Mahakumbh celebrations here in India. This incident in the last night, whatever is the time is there, that may be because of some miscommunication on the announcement at the railway stations, and the people who were in a very large number there gathered on the platforms, and they misunderstood the communication. It appears to that. And due to that, some person was stated to have slipped from the staircase, and after that, then so many people were stampede in between, and so many lives have been lost. It's a very serious incident, and there may be some lapses on the part of the railway department, because there should have been some collection of intelligence, collection of information about how many people will be available at the platform, and how many trains or special trains and the other trains are to be there, and what is the capacity in that train, and what is the capacity of the platform itself, where so much gathering was allowed to enter at that time. So this large gathering, as well as some miscommunication by the announcement of the railway platform at the railway station, this might have been misunderstood by so many passengers, and this led to this very serious incident. And I think a probe has been ordered, as your spokesperson, your person was stating about it. Then the railway minister has ordered a high-level probe, and the main reason of these things will be known after the inquiry is complete. And I think if there is somebody at fault in this matter, appropriate action will be recommended in that inquiry. And at the same time, Delhi police is also taking stock of these things, and the incident is being probed by Delhi police itself, and by conducting post-mortem of the deceased, and the treatment of the injured is also at the very important government hospitals here in Jayaprakash Narayan Hospital, as well as Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital, which are very, very good government hospitals in Delhi. I think those people who have been injured, they will be definitely taken care, and all efforts will be made to make them survive in this incident.
Brian, I wanted to bring you in here. So supposedly trains have continued once again today to go back to Mahakumbh festival. What kind of changes are being brought in security-wise that you've seen today at this train station?
Yes, the security authorities.
Apologies. I wanted to ask Brian Anthony Thomas. Okay, sorry. Please continue, L.N. Rao.
Yes, I just wanted to, I don't know about the apologies by the railway department or something like that, but definitely the police arrangements to have all security measures at the railway stations are being done, and I think this recurrence of such incident will be prevented in future till this Mela, the Mahakumbh Mela is to be celebrated till 26th of this month. Thomas.
L.N. Rao, what kind of things are you is this inquiry expected to find? How long will it take? And what kind of things are going to be brought in to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
Thomas, these type of inquiries are very time bound, and it is mentioned in the inquiry order that in how many days this inquiry should be completed, and that is also to be mentioned that in that inquiry finding, that what are the lapses on the part of on the railway department or any other person or any other department, and what are the remedies will be suggested for stopping this, preventing this type of incident in future, and that will be also included in that inquiry report. And I hope that it will be done as soon as possible, as discussed by the railway minister in Air India.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ellen Rao, for that discussion. Argentina's opposition is considering impeachment for President Milei after he endorsed the failed crypto token Libra. The token's value skyrocketed to $5 and then crashed below $1, sparking accusations of a potential rug pull scam. Milei has denied all involvement and retracted his support, but opposition leaders, including Leonardo Santoro, argue the scandal has caused international embarrassment. Let's take a look at more information on this.
Argentina's President Javier Milei is facing calls for impeachment after endorsing the failed crypto token Dollar Libra. The token surged to nearly $5 after Milei's endorsement, but plummeted below $1 within hours. This sharp decline raised concerns of a potential rug pull scam, where creators profit before abandoning the project. Milei denied any involvement in the crypto project and retracted his support once he learned more about it. Opposition lawmakers, led by Leandro Santoro, are pushing for impeachment due to the scandal's international fallout. They argue that Milei's actions have caused significant embarrassment for Argentina on the global stage. Accusations of a pump-and-dump cryptocurrency scandal linked to President Milei's promotion have sparked threats of impeachment from the opposition. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Now let's take a look at some news updates from across South America. Heavy rains in Bolivia have claimed 28 lives, affecting 8 of the country's 9 administrative divisions. Vice Civil Minister Juan Carlos Civi Montes said 83 municipalities are impacted, with 27 in a state of emergency. La Paz has been the hardest hit and 4 people remain missing. The National Meteorology and Hydrology Service predict the rain will persist through March and April. Brazilian President Lula da Silva's approval rating has fallen to 24% from 35% in December, according to a Datafolha poll. His disapproval rate rose to 41%, marking the worst figures of his 3 terms. Despite past popularity, Lula's approval has not exceeded 40% since his return to office in 2023. An Argentine court has issued a arrest warrant for Myanmar's junta leader Min Aung Hlaing, ex-president Htin Kyaw and Aung Suu Kyi over alleged genocide and crimes against humanity, the Rohingya minority. The ruling was made under universal jurisdiction, allowing prosecution for severe crimes worldwide. Myanmar's junta dismissed the move, while Rohingya advocates hailed it as a historic step towards justice. The case now awaits Interpol's notification. Ecuadorian Colonel Porfirio Sedano, head of an Air Force anti-drug unit, was gunned down in Guayaquil while en route to a military ceremony. More than 20 shots were fired at his vehicle in an attack linked to the country's escalating drug gang violence. Defense Minister Giancarlo Lafredo called for a strong response, and the military has offered a reward for information on the killers. Ecuador remains in a state of emergency as President Daniel Noboa continues his crackdown on organised crime. Brazilian President Lula da Silva has threatened reciprocal measures in response to US President Donald Trump's recent imposition of a 25% tariff on steel imports. Lula suggested that Brazil might file a complaint with the World Trade Organization or impose taxes on US products. This stance marks a shift from earlier calls by Brazilian officials for dialogue and negotiation. The US maintains a trade surplus with Brazil totaling at $253 million last year on over $80 billion in bilateral trade. Major diplomatic moves are underway as US officials are set to meet delegates from Russia and in Saudi Arabia. The agenda for the meeting is to discuss the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. But with Ukraine left out of the talks and Europe not given a seat at the table, a question surfaces about the direction of these negotiations. Let's have a look at the full report.
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio is planning to meet Russian officials in Saudi Arabia in the coming days. They are going to initiate the final discussion to end the war. This follows a phone call between Trump and Putin on Wednesday, when the US shocked its European allies by reviving direct contact with Moscow after a freeze of more than 3 years. On the other hand, Zelensky has also stated that he openly denied Trump's request for Ukraine's earth minerals in exchange for their aid to Ukraine.
Я не дав міністрам підписувати відповідну угоду, тому що вона не готова. На мою думку, вона не захищає, вона ще не готова, щоб захистити нас, наші інтереси. Для мене дуже важливо говорити про інвестиції в Україну, і саме інвестиції, і це повинно бути виписано юридично правильно, коректно, і це інвестиції.
Zelensky further commented that the fact that Ukraine hasn't been invited is a cause for concern.
First, that maybe there is something at the table, but not on our table. So I didn't see any invitations, envoys, and etc. from Ukraine to meet with some other envoys. But anyway, envoy, this is that national. I mean, this it's security advisor, and so we don't have any papers, any invitations, and it's something strange for me to speak in this case, in this format. If before we don't have any negotiation between us and our strategic partners.
European officials are in a state of shock as this meeting will not be hosting any European delegates. Vance repeated the Trump administration's line that Europe must step up in a big way to provide for its own defense. Bureau Report, NewsX.
We will now take a look at some news updates from across the Indo-Pacific. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has said that China will play along till the end with the US. The United States is bent on surpassing the country, even though Beijing does not wish to conflict with Washington. While speaking at the Munich Security Conference, Wang said China would respond resolutely to unilateral bullying practices. Yet they hope the US could work together with it in the same direction. This is a repercussion of Donald Trump adding 10% tariffs on all Chinese goods. Severe tropical cyclone Zelia powered into Australia's minerals-rich west coast. Gusts of 290 kilometres per hour have led to emergency warnings and ports closing. The slow-moving cyclone was at the highest category of 5 as it landed in east of Port Headland. This port is one of the world's busiest iron ore ports. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio told South Korea's foreign minister that the country wants to maintain a stable, trusting relationship with South Korea. Rubio and South Korean Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yul headed a meeting in Germany and agreed to work closely. The goal is for the complete denuclearization of North Korea and shared concerns about military cooperation between Russia and North Korea. They have also agreed to cooperate in fields such as energy and advanced technologies, such as shipbuilding, nuclear power, and liquefied natural gas. Authorities have launched a joint investigation for the fire that killed 6 workers at a construction site for a luxury hotel in Busan. According to the Busan Fire and Disaster Headquarters, 27 others suffered injuries. Investigators found the fire started near the pipes in the plumbing terminal room, which is a space used for pipe maintenance and repairs. The police have collected workers' belongings, including phones and helmets, and are now reviewing them as part of the probe. Autopsies for 6 of the victims are scheduled for Monday. The Japanese government has said that they will release a 5th of its emergency rice stockpile. There has been hot weather, poor harvests, and a series of typhoons and panic over mega quake warning, leading to prices doubling up this year. This marked the first time that the stockpile was being used for supply chain problems since it was built in 1995. Hamas has released 3 more Israeli hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. The swap follows days of uncertainty over the ceasefire deal, which Israel and Hamas have accused each other of violating. Here is a full report.
Hamas has released another 3 Israeli hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners following a week in which the fragile ceasefire deal appeared under threat. American-Israeli Segui Dekel-Chen, 36, Argentinian-Israeli Yair Horn, 46, and Russian-Israeli Alexander Trufanov, 29, were freed in return for 369 Palestinians held in Israeli jails. So far, 19 hostages and more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners have been freed in the first phase of ceasefire deal, which began on 19 January. The swap came days after Hamas said it would pause the release of hostages, accusing Israel of violating the terms of the deal, an allegation denied by Israel. Israel, backed by US President Donald Trump, said intense fighting would resume unless the hostages were handed over. Hamas later said it remained committed to the ceasefire, and that Israel was responsible for any complications or delays. But on Saturday, the 6th swap went ahead, with the hostages handed over to Red Cross workers in a highly choreographed public show in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. Surrounded by heavily armed Hamas militants, the men briefly addressed a crowd of Palestinians before being transferred into Red Cross vehicles. They did not look as gaunt as the hostages freed a week earlier. Their appearance had aroused anger in Israel and elsewhere. Under the first 6-week stage of the ceasefire deal, 33 hostages and 1,900 prisoners are supposed to be freed. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Israel late on Saturday on his first trip to the Middle East, after a widely condemned proposal by President Donald Trump to displace Palestinians in Gaza. Trump first floated the suggestion that Egypt and Jordan should take in Palestinians from Gaza on January 25th, a proposal they strongly opposed. Bureau Report, NewsX.
And that is all we have time for. We will continue to bring you more international news updates.
Thank you.